An inmate at a state prison in Fresno County has been shot and killed by a correctional officer during a riot. State officials just confirmed that it happened this morning at the Pleasant Valley Prison in Coalinga. About 75 prisoners were involved in the riot on the prison's general population yard. Correctional officers used chemical agents, rubber rounds, and eventually live guns to break it up. 2 inmates were hospitalized with gunshot wounds, including the one who was pronounced dead.
In 2009, I arrived at Pleasant Valley, Coalinga, California. B yard, one of the most active yards I had ever been on. The Southsiders and the Bulldogs got into a riot on the main yard by the handball court right there. During that riot, one of the Paisas was severely beaten, and the Paisas were upset. It wasn't the Paisas' beef anyways. However, we all went on lockdown. 3 months later, the captain decided to let everybody out. Paisas and Bulldogs first. It only lasted a couple of days. The Paisas and the Bulldogs settled it on the soccer field. Knives were pulled out and people were getting stabbed. The gunman, the tower, didn't have no choice but to start firing rounds. One of those rounds hit a Bulldog in the head. He died instantly. Another round hit a Bulldog in the leg and almost blew his leg off. One of the Paisas got stabbed in the buttocks, meaning the ass. Several people were injured on both sides. The captain had said, look, from here on out, I'm going to lock the aggressor down for 90 days, and I'm going to decide who I'm going to let out. So every 90 days, we had a riot. It was either the Northerners coming out to rush the Bulldogs or the Southerners coming out to rush the Bulldogs. However, the Bulldogs had said, we're not going to rush nobody. We're just going to get rushed on and keep this yard. So they did as they promised. Everybody kept rushing the Bulldogs while the Bulldogs enjoyed the yard. Everybody was on lockdown while the Bulldogs enjoyed the yard because the Bulldogs never rushed anybody. They said, we're just going to play victim. Fuck it. They want to rush us, they can come get it. And the captain just locked down the aggressor for 90 days. Every 90 days, somebody was coming out, somebody was getting hit. It seemed like the Bulldogs and state officials had made an agreement that the Bulldogs were not to rush nobody. That way they can enjoy yard, canteen, packages, visits, while everybody else remained on lockdown. And that's exactly what happened. While the time that I was there, all the factions kept coming out, and all they did was rush the Bulldogs, and the aggressor stayed on lockdown. And that's what the captain promised. Whoever the aggressor is, I'm going to lock them down for 90 days. So every 90 days, they kept bringing out a faction. And that faction was either the Northerners or the Southerners, and the Paisas as well. I put a stop to all that for my car. I said, fuck that. We're not going to keep rushing these dudes. We're going to go out there and program with these guys. You know what I'm saying? This is not our beef. So we ended up programming with the Bulldogs until I left. Hey man, you already know what it is, man. John the Hitman, Diesel. Let's go. Straight to it. But before we get going, hit that notification button, man. Blue, blue. So when I'm on, you're going to know that I'm on, man. You can get some of this real true crime shit, right? Because this is what this is, true crime. Anyhow, Pleasant Valley, Coalinga, California. Yeah, I was there. I was in B yard. Nigga, what the fuck you mean? Building 4 and Building 1, right? Look, Pleasant Valley be rocking, man. You know what I'm saying? They say they got a level 4 over there. I don't know. But it really is a level 4. You know what I'm saying? It's a level 3, but it's 270 design. Just like a level 4. What's the difference between a 270 and a 180? So 180 is you got the building, boop, and then you got a wall in between the pods. Just one big wall, whoop, that covers, you can't see each other. Security is a lot better. The police can see you. On the 270, it's the same thing, whoop, like that, but it doesn't have those walls. It's wide open. Still, security can see everything. The officer can see everything. 270 design. Level 3, Pleasant Valley, 270 design. Just like a level 4. They run it like a level 4. And in the yard, they got a gym. They got, you know what it was? Pleasant Valley level 3, 270 design was just like the 270 level 4 in Salinas Valley. Same shit. So they say Pleasant Valley is the Bulldogs' backyard. All the officers are pro Bulldogs. They favor the Bulldogs. So the Norteños were short there, the Paisas were short. If you put the Northerners and the Paisas together, that's how many Bulldogs there were. And Southerners, there was more Southerners than Bulldogs. So now you have an idea of what the numbers were like. But when the police is in your favor, yeah, it's your yard, it's your house. So yeah, it was Bulldogs' backyard, even though the Southerners were deeper. But anyhow, back to the story. So Pleasant Valley was dangerous, man. When I got there, the Northerners were on lockdown because they stayed getting off. They wasn't going to wait. The Northerners wasn't waiting, thinking about it, see if they was going to program with the Bulldogs. And every time they came out, they was rushing the Bulldogs, or the Bulldogs would rush them, whatever the advantage was, right? You know what I'm saying? Like that riot where, you seen that riot where the Bulldogs, those two dudes approached the Bulldogs fell asleep on that. Look, man, when you seen them two dudes pulling up, the Bulldogs were supposed to take off on them two immediately. I don't know what, they was backing up. I understand, they seen the whole mob coming. But by the time, if you look at the time frame, how long it took the rest of the group to arrive and stomp the Bulldogs out, look how long it took. I'm surprised that the Bulldogs didn't rush those first two dudes that first approached them. That was the lick right there. That's what, I don't know what happened, right? But if my group was out there and I would have took off, we would have had to rush them first two dudes that approached them. They should have rushed them, stomped them out, and then whatever losses we take, oh well, but we got these two. You know what I'm saying? But look, and it sounds like I'm advertising and like promoting violence. I'm just saying this is what should have took place if indeed in them type of situations, right? Now, I bet you if it had been the Northerners, nigga, the Northerners wasn't gonna stick around, sitting around waiting to get attacked. Nigga, the Northerners would have rushed them two dudes immediately, right? But that's a story for another day, right? I guess you really can't call the play until you're there personally. I've been in situations like that where we're the fuck outnumbered, right? But the Bulldogs was like, I know that a lot of those dudes were first timers. You can tell by the way how they were moving back a little bit, right? It's like, man, their heart starts beating. But the thing is, you got your comrades with you, so it builds a little bit of courage, right? It gives you a little bit of courage to have your comrades with you, right? But still, it was kind of backing up. Like I said before, I'm not doing this in a braggadocio type fashion. I'm just telling you what the mentality is in prison. You can't let these two dudes get close to you and then the whole mob. Hey, by the time the mob gets there, y'all should already have got them two. You know what I'm saying? Even if they did have weapons, you just got to rush them, man. It's part of the game. You just got to rush. That's just the way it is. And you can tell they're fresh off the bus. Because they still got the they didn't have no weapons.
Fresh off the orientation or fresh off the bus.
If they did, they didn't have time to pull it out. Because they're still wearing the jumpsuit, coming off fresh off the bus. All in the same color, too. Man, that must have been a horrible situation, man.
Right at the Shark's tank.
And it's happened like that. The Northerners have been through that all the time. So that's nothing new. So I've seen the Northerners in similar situations like that, man. Like I did the video before in Opposed, that same shit. Same shit. Right? I've never seen, I did see the blacks get on the Paisas like that, and I've seen the blacks get on the Southsiders like that too before on Bayside, right? So you can't win them all, right? Each group each group, whether it's black, whites, Mexicans, Bulldogs, Northeast, they all have victories, they all have losses. As big as the Southsiders are, they have some losses as well. They have losses too. We all have losses, right? So back to the shit, right? So when I get to the Northerners are on lockdown, right? Because they stay getting off on the Bulldogs, right? And if the situation was in the Bulldogs' favor, they'd rush them, right? So there's one wall on the handball court. The blacks got the handball court to themselves with the Asians. We got to share this side of the wall, because there's only one wall in Pleasant Valley, one wall. We have to share this side with the Bulldogs, Southsiders, and the Paisas. 3 different cars. The Southsiders and the Paisas, we're not running the same program like we do in the level 4. However, we're tight, but we got our own program in Pleasant Valley. We got our own benches. We got the whole yard, the soccer field, pretty much. So that one wall, and you got 3 different cars. Oh, and the whites. So now you got 4 cars trying to share one side of the wall, because it's a wall with 2 sides. On that side, you got the blacks and the Asians and the Northerners, but Northerners never came out.
Russian.
So on this side, you got whites Paisas, Bulldogs, and Southsiders. Word came back that we was to kick back and be cool for a little bit, however long that lasted, right? I can't pinpoint the exact issue on why the riot started. All I know, it happened in the handball court. They was arguing in the handball court. Bulldogs and Southsiders were arguing in the handball court. Next thing you know, you just boom, everybody rushes each other, right? Paisas jump in because there was a couple Paisas there, and a couple Paisas got hit. So what are you supposed to do? Just sit around and watch? Paisas get involved too, right? So now you got the Paisas and Southsiders. Boom, 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 boom. This was an unexpected thing, so nobody was prepared for war. You should always be prepared for war. You should always be ready to go. If you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready. It's a Bible terminology, but it started being used in the Bay. Now everybody says it. You be hearing, oh, if you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready. You shut that shit up, man. You ain't never been ready, nigga. You ain't never been part of the shit. Niggas be rapping, talking about, they did, look, cut that shit out, man. These rappers be hella lying. Rappers only dream about living this lifestyle that I'm talking about right now. And like I said before, I'm not glorifying this shit. I'm just giving you true crime. Boop, back to the shit. Bulldogs, Paisas, and Southsiders get off on each other. Right there, boop, boop. No weapons was involved. It was just fisticuffs. Bing, 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 bing. Them be the one. Them be them YA type style riots. So fisticuffs. Boop, 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 boop. Mind me, a level 4 and a level 3, the rules change a little bit. They fluctuate. Not everything has to be like on a level 4. Everything has to be Even though now I've heard that on a level 4, they doing a lot of boo-bops, right? On a level 4, which is unheard of. But times have changed. So this was a boo-bop on the yard, right? Southsiders, everybody, they slammed down the whole yard. They slammed down everybody. All raza, everybody. No whites got involved. There was a few whites there in the handball court because, like I said before, the whites, the Paisas, and the Southsiders, we can come to each other's spots. We're allowed to pull up, you know what I'm saying, and without having any conflict, right? It's okay for us to, you know, we can't just intervene and just pull up like we are running shit, but we can go over there respectfully, like, what's up? And the white section is not going to get mad if a Paisa goes over there, and vice versa, and the same thing with the Southsiders, right? That's just with the blacks, right? You can't pull up to a black section, can't pull up to an Asian section. You got it from a distance, right? Or, hey, let me holler at you, and you meet in a neutral area, right? But as far as us and the white boys and the Southsiders, we're cool like that, right? At least that's what it was in Pleasant Valley. But the whites didn't jump in. Whites stayed out of it. Since all the raza was going at it, the whites wanted to kick it off with the blacks just to have something to do. Straight up. I ain't gonna lie. But anyhow, so look, so they slam everybody down. Nobody gets injured. It was pretty even. You know, it was fair enough. People on both sides, Bulldogs versus the Southsiders, a couple Paisas involved. Boom, 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 boom. They slam everybody down. Boom. Here's where it gets ugly. The Southsiders are locked down with the Paisas, right? And we're communicating back and forth with the Southsiders, right? You know, it's that type of party, right? We tell the Southsiders that we're going to come out. That wasn't our pedo. That wasn't our beef. We just happened to get involved because some of us were there, right? So we're going to come out and we're going to try this out, see how that goes. But you had some BBs on the yard. My homeboy Zacatecas was there. Reyes was there from Michoacan. He had BB on his stomach. There was a few border brothers there. Me, one of them had contacts with one of the legends, right? And then a homie from Ironwood was coming in from Durango who had contact with one of the big dudes, one of the big legends, man, up in Pelican Bay. The legends were slammed at this time, right? So let's keep it cool. So now you got they let the Paisas out and they let the Bulldogs out. But the captain let the Bulldogs out first. They always came out first. The police over there was in their favor. The cops were Bulldogs, man. So the cops let the Bulldogs out. So they let the Paisas out, right? They were tempted to let the Southsiders out the following week. We don't make it. Because we only lasted about 6 days. The Paisas only lasted like 6 days on the yard with the Bulldogs. We were out there trying to program. We were trying to be cool with the Bulldogs. But now there's tension, right? Now you have to come to yard with weapons because we're coming off an issue. We did a 90-day lockdown. People are still hot. People are still mad. I wasn't mad, man. Come on, what the fuck I'm gonna be mad for? This shit happens, man. You know what I'm saying? But you got people in there doing life, and you got people that are trying to get to a level 4 with big egos. LA Icon, big ego. Shout out to LA Icon for that slapper. I'm still bummed. That's on my playlist right now. You know what I'm saying? Big ego, nigga, because I got big ego, because that's what it is, right? You can't be a leader if you ain't got a big ego, to be honest with you. Am I lying, though? Anyhow, moving on. So, the Paisas come out to the yard, and we're out there for like a week, and it kicks off on the yard. Weapons involved. A couple of Paisas got stabbed, a couple of Bulldogs got hit. The tower didn't have no choice but to start busting. It's a big melee on the yard. I'm talking about. We was outnumbered, I ain't gonna lie. We was about
like 3-1 Bulldogs.
Because what it was all 5 buildings on the yard, but only the top tier. Only the top tier of all the buildings were out on the yard. That's how they run. If you know who I'm talking about, top tier turn, bottom tier turn. So for those of you guys that know, you know what that means. So what they do is they rotate. In the morning time, they'll let all the top tier out, and then in the midday, they'll let the bottom tier out, and at night, they'll let the top tier out, and vice versa the next day. And that's how it rocks, right? So they let all the top tier Paisas out, and all the top tier Bulldogs out, right? They were deeper than us. Yeah, it was like 3-1. It was 3-1. So here goes an example of how you win some, you lose some. The same incident that happened with the Northerners in Old Folsom, where the Northerners got jumped on by the Southsiders. The same thing happened to us in Pleasant Valley. The Bulldogs rushed the Paisas.
It happens to everybody.
Real talk. And we had weapons though. And the Bulldogs had weapons. They did. And we were stabbing each other on the yard, I swear to God. The tower didn't have no choice but to start busting. He shot somebody in the head, a Bulldog. And he shot another Bulldog in the leg. He didn't know who was who. He's just trying to stop the shit. Right? So he killed the Bulldog. Bah! Right? And shot another Bulldog in the leg. So who wins that riot? Right? I'm not gonna lie. We held our ground, right? Because we had weapons. Nigga, we had weapons. The Paisas had weapons, nigga. You know what I'm saying? And Bulldogs had weapons too. They did. And people got hit. A few people got hit. And like I said before, the tower, he didn't know what to do because he let it go on for a minute. The tower guy's not supposed to let anybody whack anybody. As soon as you see that out, he's supposed to start busting. Man, a lot of this was going on before he started busting. At least about 5 seconds, 5 to 10 seconds. The riot was going on for like 5 seconds, 5 to 10 seconds before the first gunshot. And he killed somebody, right? Rest in peace, old Bulldog dude. And that's what happened in Pleasant Valley, man. Dangerous situation. Shout out to Cochiloco from Sinaloa, he was there. Shout out to Chente from Tijuana, he was there. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Zacatecas, Border Brother, he was there. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Reyes from Michoacan, he was there. You know what I'm saying? Who else was there?
Montana came later.
Bad Boy from Pasadena was there too, but he was locked down. There was a couple cats from Orange County too over there that was in my building. Actually, the dude that had my building was from Orange County. This was a serious riot, man, and like I said before, tower dude killed somebody, right? Very dangerous situation, man. And the Paisas have become a different group now since the 80s and 90s. From 2000s on up, the Paisas have elevated themselves to be. I don't think they're considered a security threat group. I know in the feds they are. The Border Brothers as well are a security threat group, but the Paisas are not the Paisas that people are accustomed to seeing or hearing about. The Paisas now in prison, it's a movement. And it's a respected movement now because you're not just gonna push up on anybody. When I was first going to prison, and I've always been a BB, so I've always rolled with the Paisa. I've always been in the Paisano car, right? I've always been one of those political type dudes that's always in the mix, trying to find some dope, trying to sell some dope, or trying to see what's going on, right? Prison for you. But you only had a handful of us that were into politics. Now you got a bunch of them. And now more than ever, a good almost 50% of the Paisa car speaks English fluent, because a lot of people from the streets choose to ride with the Paisas, not really knowing that it's dangerous too. It's not, look, being a Paisa, people, oh, it's easy being a Paisa. Look, there's rules in the Paisano car, especially now. It's different. I got a stepson, you know, running shit in prison, and I know exactly what's going on in prison with the Paisa car, right? You know, they got Paisa 16, and in the feds you got the BBs that are deep. You know, in the state, you don't, in California state, you don't have too many BBs anymore. There's just a lot. There's a lot of Paisanos, right? Just a lot. And as you guys already know, we roll with that side. With that being said, man, you already know what it is, man. John the Hitman, Diesel.